Live from American Fork, it's Saturday morning.
Woo!
Yeah, you really did that.
The first live podcast that you can download a few days later.
We're blazing trails.
It's
here
not
on-
Saturday morning. It's Tuesday, May 15th.
Oh, recorded live.
That's why it's kind of a different kind of sound this time.
Yeah,
because it's live.
Yeah, welcome back to the Gadget Spot. We're in Jaren's newly finished basement. So that's why it sounds a little echoey, because all there are walls and this folding table.
And a fire alarm.
Very, very new.
Yeah.
So new that there's nothing else because money has dried up.
That's pretty much how it goes when you do renovations. And things
I
on
liked
the
I
house.
like Jaren's method for dealing with the extra cost. He just don't ever look at it because I don't want to know
Yeah.
method. Just tell me what the end comes out to so I can just cry once.
I got the TV, then I'm like, okay, that's it. That's all I need.
Nothing else matters. So, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's go ahead and introduce the Gadget Spot panel. Owen.
Hey there, it's Owen.
Hey.
Again, you guys know me, I think. Follow me on Twitter at TechNoad. I've been trying to tweet more. I didn't get many out this week, but I have been making a concerted effort to think about tweeting. So I think thinking about it's the first step.
That's progress, man. Progress.
So
You were really good the last 2 weeks
last 2
on
weeks
the last
I was
episode.
I was trying to really come out with stuff, and then all my creative juices dried up.
Yeah, that's when you started to steal tweets from me.
Yeah,
and then
it
you
wasn't-
stopped.
It wasn't a tweet. It was a banner that's on our Slack channel. Thank you.
He realized the quality of tweets he was stealing. He was like, "Oh, this isn't good."
I might as well just stop.
I don't steal Jaren's tweets and have to live with that.
This is bringing my bots down.
Yeah, they're unfollowing me. Anyway, I didn't get really much gaming done this week. Been doing a lot of yard work, trying to get ready for maybe some changes. So we'll, but yeah, I'll get more on that next time, I guess. More gaming next week, hopefully.
Let's hope so. Jeez, Jaren.
Hey, this is Jaren. You can find me on Twitter at Jaren, Jarron. Lately, I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. That's a great game. Oh, the story finally blew up.
Yeah,
I
had that problem with that game too. At first, I was like, "This story's kind of weak," and then I hit a point. It's like, "Oh no, this story's awesome."
Yeah, it's I'm in the middle of the craziness because I had to stop because of stuff. I also tried the Ewok mode in Battlefront 2. That's a lot of fun.
I still haven't. How long's that on for? I haven't even tried it yet.
I have no idea.
I hope it's more than a week.
Yeah, it's kind of like a survival thing. So you're on Endor.
Yeah.
And you start up as a stormtrooper. All you have is a flashlight on your blaster and a blaster, and that's it. And
is this supposed to give credence to why the Ewoks actually made a difference on
I
Return of
think
the
so.
Jedi?
But it's completely pitch black if you're a stormtrooper, and like every minute or so, it'll say player 123 has been lost to the forest, and like you hear like some noises, in the background, like what's happening, and so you're just like running around exploring, and for some reason your flashlight runs out of battery, even though it's connected to your blaster, which never runs out of battery.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, but it's more for the gameplay, though, because once
Yeah.
your flashlight runs out...
Can you do co-op?
What do you mean co-op?
Like, can you have all four of us play at once against the Ewoks?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I presume so. It's a lot of fun, though. So once you die, you become an Ewok, and when you're an Ewok... you could it's a lot easier to see everything around you, and like Ewoks kick butt.
So this is kind of like what was that mode in Halo they made after a while? Zombie mode,
Maybe. I never
where
played it.
one person starts off, one person starts off as a zombie with a sword, and everyone else starts off with a shotgun. And as the zombie kills people, they become zombies and try
kinda
to
like
attack
that. If Battlefront 2 keeps doing modes like this, I think it will become a worthwhile game.
Well, here's the thing: if you ask me, and
6 months later.
That's good. Good to hear. Game developers, maybe we'll talk about this later. Game developers and publishers need to wake up and see that there's the games out there that you can make that will just continually sell copies for 2-3 years, and that's how you make big money on the games, rather than trying to do your stupid microtransactions and make all your money back in 6 months. Anyway, that's we'll get to that later.
Right
hey,
on.
welcome back, Ty.
I'm back.
How's your computer?
It's alive. I'm actually using it this time.
The Lazarus Lappy.
Nobody has spilled water on it yet.
So I opted for a much shorter vessel that contains water this time, so it doesn't tip over.
Well done.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so it's good to be back, guys. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. I'm at Ty Merrill.
Well, how do you spell that?
TYMERRILL.
Well, I guess people know what my last name is now. I've been trying to hide it this whole time,
Wow.
Thanks, Ty.
Who cares?
No, you could have had different parentage. So now you just let it all
Yeah,
out.
you
That's
could have
true.
been my stepbrother.
You're the one that
Yeah.
confirmed it.
Yep.
I guess.
Nice. What have
The
you been playing?
Barbara Streisand effect.
What?
I called attention to it. And now
Like her nose? Is that what it's about?
Oh, what is that about? Oh,
you don't know what that is? Something happened to her house, and like she decided to sue the person, and then because she decided to sue, everyone knew about it, and she didn't want everyone to know about it.
Oh, nothing about
Because it came into the public theater.
oh, okay.
I see.
I didn't really care, but I'm glad you explained it to me. So,
What games you been playing?
Yeah, what have you been playing, Ty?
so I played some Doom.
Yes. On which
on Xbox.
platform?
So that
Nice.
that became Xbox One X enhanced.
I love that game. It's a good game.
It's fantastic. It's so fun.
It's one of the few first-person shooters to come out in the last couple of years that is purely gameplay driven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't need to rely on the story, even though the story is kind of cool. But
Yeah, the story's fine, but the gameplay
it's
is
just great.
It's so fun.
I think the story is very interesting, but the story itself is just, it's all right.
Kind of like Halo. The universe they've created
Yeah.
is really neat, but the story itself is basically just, well, you're the good guy and those are the bad guys.
Us
you need to go
versus
kill
them.
Yeah.
Blast that alien.
Yep.
Scum.
Yeah, just the gameplay loop though of how they make you get close to the enemies
Yep.
and like do like the glory kills. And once you get a super shotgun in that game and you upgrade it,
Oh, it's so good.
oh, it's the best. Just like the boom boom.
I want to play that game again now.
I think I only used the super shotgun in that game. Like once I got the upgraded one, just that's like all I used. It's so fun.
Yeah. If you're anywhere from medium to short range, super shotgun all the way.
Yeah, it's the best. So I finished that on Xbox. I started playing God of War,
Oh, that game's so good.
PS4.
It's so good.
It's really good.
I think I'm almost done. I think I'm probably 80% done.
Yeah.
But there's still some stuff, and I'm not normally like this. There's still some stuff on the side that I want to do that doesn't really pertain to the story, but I'm like, this
Yeah.
is a lot of fun. I'm going to do it anyway.
The side missions are like really good.
Well, I mean, have you got to the part where you unlock like Mephelheim and like
Some of the other realms.
some of the other realms?
I've only unlocked a couple extra.
So Mephelheim is the fire realm.
Okay, yeah, I did. I went there and it was like, okay, it's just like arena fighting,
Yeah,
basically. But
it's just arena.
I did one.
It's actually really fun.
Is it?
I've made it through 8. So I guess there's 6 arenas. Each arena has two
Okay.
levels in it, and I've done the first 4 arenas, and I'm on the 5th arena now. But
Yeah.
it's good.
So those are completely secondary, right?
Yeah,
You don't
there's
have
absolutely nothing that I've seen story related to
to-
those.
okay. Yeah, I
Stuff
wanted
like
to progress the story, so I didn't go back and.
Yeah,
I want to go back because you get stuff for doing those.
Mm-hmm.
You get upgrades.
and then you'll also start to find when you get to the point where you can open up the hidden caverns or whatever.
The hidden chambers.
Hidden chambers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've done a couple hidden chambers.
Okay, yeah, the freaking
Yeah, those are
Valkyries. Those are hard.
pretty tough.
Yeah, Jaren, you need to get this game.
I have
Oh,
it.
that's right. You need to.
I bought it.
You need to finish Horizon Zero Dawn. Then you need to play this game.
I'm so excited to play it.
Yeah,
If
I have to
ever
say
finish
when
Horizon.
I started, I didn't really enjoy the combat. It takes some getting used to,
yes,
for sure.
Agreed.
And like I played around with it, like changing the controls, and I ended up changing them back.
Yeah, I decided about 5 hours in. Should I change the controls? No, it'll just mess me up more, and I just kept with it.
I did change the face button so that like the X is your action button. That made
Oh.
more sense to me.
Yep.
But it's kind of strange having the shoulder buttons be your main attack buttons. But
That's how it is on Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, but Horizon Zero, no, because it's only your bow, isn't it? If you
So
want
you-
to, if you
your
want a
left-
melee attack.
Your left shoulder is the bow, and your right 2 shoulders are the melee attack.
Oh, really? It's been
Yeah.
a while since I.
yeah, the
played
thing
that.
about Horizon though, it's not as frenetic. Like it's more strategy,
Yeah.
like stealth combat.
God of War is more like Doom. You
Yeah.
got to get in the melee and just swing around.
Once you get the hang of it though, it's very satisfying.
Oh yeah,
But it's fantastic.
the Leviathan axe is just so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
So cool.
great.
Anything else you've been playing?
Nope.
Nice. And I'm Tony, your host. Check me out on Twitter at QuadTTony, or I'm always here on the Gadget Spot every other week, or the Geek Show podcast weekly. And the only thing I've been playing for the last 2 weeks is pretty much God of War. Oh, that game's so freaking good. It's like I said last time, once in a while, once a year or so, a game will come out that deserves to be bumped up in front of your backlog. This is that game. It's just phenomenal. But yeah, that's enough, I guess, gushing about God of War.
Yeah, we talked about it for a little while here.
Is that a video game that you guys have been playing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do you
Sorry.
play video games still?
I didn't know.
Not so much?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Anyway.
The graphics are so good.
Okay, a little more gushing. The graphics are ridiculous in this game. They are so good.
It's so colorful too, like with
Yeah.
the HDR. Fantastic.
It's one of those, I guess, another exception to the rule where a console game can keep up with the best that PC has to offer. I mean, I'm PC first all the time. Like especially if it's a single player game, I usually go for it on PC. Obviously, in this case, it's an exclusive to PlayStation platform, so I can't. But man, the only thing they could have done better on PC with this would be 60 frames per second, and to do that, you'd have to have a super beefy rig.
Yeah.
I think I disagree. PCs don't look better only because consoles exist and they target consoles when they develop the games.
Oh yeah, I mean currently right now. But yeah, if you could get developers to target high-end PCs as their baseline,
It would look much better.
it would look much better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So do you favor? You can choose. You can favor performance or graphics?
I do the 4K mode.
Yeah. Same
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Yeah. There'll be a few dips, but
yeah.
I can live with that.
Well, even then on the performance mode, there's still dips too, and it's a 1080p. It's not a solid 60, and so I'm just like, if I'm gonna get dips either way, I want the eye candy, you know.
Yeah. That was the good thing about Doom too, because it's 4K, but it's also pretty much 60
Yeah.
on Xbox.
There's a couple of game engines out there right now, like the Frostbite engine, id Tech 6. Is that what they're on for Doom? I think it's id Tech 6. Anyway,
One of those.
that's what Doom and Wolfenstein use, and
Yeah.
they're able to push these visuals just to the limit and still get really good frame rates on consoles. It's awesome. I mean, I can't name anything on Switch that looks as good. Not as good, I would say, but like the fact they are able to pare down Doom for the Switch and it still looks all right. It's a little muddy on the textures and the resolution, but the fact that they were able to bring it to Switch at all and keep it at a relatively locked 30 frames per second, that's amazing.
I think it looks way good on the Switch.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're sitting there side by side with the X or something, you're not going to notice a huge difference.
Blurry, yes, but other than that, it looks really good.
Playable.
Definitely playable. The fact alone that it's portable, it's crazy. Digital Foundry just did a really interesting video this last week on if Microsoft and Sony could ever do a Switch style system. Did you guys watch that video?
I did.
What'd you think about that?
It would make sense because the base hardware for Xbox and PlayStation 4 is powered. I mean, it's not portable, and so it's running like at 80 to 120 watts versus the Switch, which is like 9 to 11.
Yeah.
So they would have to completely re-architect the whole system, meaning the games wouldn't be compatible, and so you basically end up with another Vita.
Yeah, he goes into a lot of interesting details on how that works because it's much, much easier to scale up from a mobile chip than it is to scale down from a non-mobile chip and get the same visuals but use 10% the power or whatever. And this is the same exact problem, actually, that Intel has going up against the ARM architecture for mobile chips. Oh. They've been trying to take their architectures and scale it down and make it use less power but still be effective. And you can tell it didn't work because they basically don't make mobile chips anymore.
Yeah.
They gave up on it because it is so much harder to scale down than it is to build something that's uses power very well and then make it stronger.
But they could easily build a Switch-like system with the same power as the PlayStation 4. It's just none of the games would be compatible.
Exactly. It'd be a totally different platform.
Yeah.
So really, really interesting video. We recommend that one on Digital Foundry. All right, so let's talk big news this week. I'd say for gamers that like Nintendo, this was the biggest news of the week. For everyone else, it's probably stuff announced at
Patreon.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yes.
Just plow right through.
The biggest thing this week, Patreon.
The biggest news.
Biggest news.
What is Patreon, Owen?
That's our digital tip jar. That's where people
You said it.
Yeah, I said it right. I've been practicing. I knew you were going to do that. And it's where you can donate if you want. We really appreciate it. It helps us do some fun things, keep the lights on, and pay some fees and whatever. But you don't have to if you don't want to. You get all this wonderful content from us for free, but we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, so a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. AJ Jasper, Aaron Young, thank you so much. Adam Foote, Aaron Faulkner, Spencer Knowlton, Valentine, Kevin Eccles, Ryan McQueen, Casey Dilly, Johnny Rios, Derek Allred, Ryan Baker, Lindsay Lucas, Michael Beck, Matt Nelson, Jeffrey Kale, David Broshinsky, Roger Allen, Austin Beauregard, Mr. Goldenfold. Which one is
I'm trying
that?
to remember that reference from Rick and Morty. Gosh dang.
Well, he's going to have a huge library to choose from a couple years from now.
70 more episodes.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Yeah,
70
I'm
more
excited
episodes
for that.
announced for Rick and Morty.
70 more episodes, Morty. 70 more
100
adventures.
years.
100 years, Morty.
Dan Clark, Brian Lee, Conrad Southworth, and Adam Hecht. Thank you guys.
Yes, thank you very much, you Patreon backers. You are the greatest. Okay, do we have any emails?
Nope.
All right.
Did we not get a Facebook message or something?
Nope.
No. All right. Well, I thought we did.
Jaron is very firm in his belief that we did not have an email this week.
I thought we got hit by somebody that had a question, but
We'll have to double check.
We'll have to double check that. I'll do that while we're going.
Okay. All right, let's go into some sweet Gadget technology news. So, big news from a little announcement with the Nintendo Switch. They finally they've already said they were going to have their online presence for a charged online fee for their Nintendo Switch, but now they finally detailed what you get and how it works.
Yeah. So if you want to do Nintendo Switch Online, if you want to pay for it, guess what? It's only $20 a year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
I know.
Yeah.
But
If you're lucky, you can find the other consoles for $45 or $50 a year. They
Right.
like to charge $60.
But there's a family
plan.
plan on this one.
Okay, how does I didn't read very deeply into that. How does that work? Meaning
Yeah.
I didn't read the sentence.
So the sentence, let me read the sentence for you. A Nintendo account holder may invite up to 7 others to join a family group.
Wait, 7 more, so 8 total?
8 total.
Wow.
All
That's
members,
generous.
all members of the group will have access to Nintendo Switch Online. That's what it says. The family plan is $35 for a year.
That's crazy cheap.
Yeah.
So-
So,
Yeah.
$4 for a year, basically.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Wow.
you just get a bunch of buddies together and split it.
And so you
the way
each
to
have
go.
your own separate account with separate cloud saves and all
Yep.
that?
They
Presumably.
haven't- yeah, presumably they haven't exactly detailed everything, but it seems like that's how it's going to work.
That would be awesome.
And it should work on different Switches too, they said. So really, really cheap way to get some old classic games.
Yeah, because along with the cloud save that we mentioned, it should have. Is it going to be a revolving 20 titles, or is it going to be 20 titles
They
with more added?
Have not been very clear on that.
Okay, so they're starting with 20 retro titles.
Yeah.
And they've announced 10 of them.
Retro as in like NES retro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the service is called Nintendo Entertainment System Nintendo Switch Online. So it seems like they're only going to be NES games, which is
Boo.
like kind of crappy.
That's kind of a bummer. I mean, there's a lot of really good NES games, don't get me wrong, but
You can only play an NES game for so long.
yeah, I'd love to get some GameCube action up in there. You know, some Double Dash.
Shout out to James who had one of those in his pictures from Japan from a game.
A GameCube?
He had holding the GameCube,
Nice.
standing by a whole bunch of classic consoles behind him. They were selling it in some electronics store.
The
What was that?
He tweeted out some pictures
I didn't see that.
or sent them on Instagram. I
Did
don't
you
know.
mute him?
No.
James out enjoying some of the Asian culture out there in Japan. He wasn't ready for sushi apparently.
For real Japanese sushi?
Yeah, he said he wasn't
Because
ready.
he eats it here.
Yeah, American sushi apparently is very different. He said.
Oh, interesting.
So
GameCube was the very first real portable console. Had that handle.
had the handle.
Had that
It was-
handle.
They were like, "Look, please carry this around with you. We've made this handle for you."
That handle was so cool.
It was
Did
ridiculous.
you ever use it?
Yeah, when I first set it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
To pull it out of the box.
Yeah.
I used it once or twice when I had to redo the wiring behind my TV, stuff like
So
that.
you could hold it while you redid the wiring?
Everybody's
So I
gonna everybody's gonna put
Yeah.
this on like a
grab it.
Walkman. They're gonna wear it around.
I think they were hoping for like Flava Flav to wear it around his neck.
They're like, we've made it so convenient. Why would he not?
Oh, I loved my GameCube though. That was a great little system.
It was a great system.
It was the last time that Nintendo really tried to compete with the other console manufacturers graphically, because it was better than the PS2, but not as powerful as the original Xbox.
Yeah.
That was the first system I actually bought with my own money. No, Sega Nomad. Never mind.
Which
You didn't buy that with your own money,
I
did you?
did.
I thought.
Toys R Us.
So the Nomad. Did you see that John Linneman will have done a big retro DF retro on the Sega Nomad?
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I saw him tweet about it. So on Tuesday, on the day this comes out, it will have already happened because it was supposed to be this weekend. So yeah, you'll get a whole bunch of.
Oh, I need to pull my Nomad out of storage.
Delicious
wherever that
Nomad.
storage is.
You don't even know where it's stored.
I'm really hoping it's at my parents' house.
He
still.
really loved that system.
I caught it. New environment. I wasn't used to where my microphone is. I almost knocked it over.
Good catch.
Yeah, caught it.
Anyway.
Yeah. Back to the Switch.
Hopefully they
Online.
do add some other systems games like other than NES, because some GameCube games would be incredible on the Switch.
Like Super Smash Brothers Melee?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Because there's going to be no virtual console.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're just saying.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But one thing they did announce is that the NES games that they're going to offer are going to have added online play in some capacity.
Interesting. Yes.
I'm not really sure what that means.
So I'm hoping that it means basically like you could play Super Mario 3 with a friend online. And I mean, it'd be take turns, obviously, because that's how Super Mario 3
doesn't
was
sound
back
fun
in the
at
day.
all.
Well, no, it's kind of cool because you can watch them play and then you play. And
Just like when we were kids.
exactly. It's like retro style.
But you won't be in the same room, so you're just watching somebody else play.
Are you
on a
kidding me?
screen.
That is a huge thing now with Twitch and
Yeah,
everything.
you're right.
That is a
I still
huge
don't.
market.
I still don't understand it, but that's okay.
I don't understand it either. I just know it's huge. Really? Nothing on that one?
No.
No, that's what she said?
Oh.
All right.
That's what she said.
Thank you.
That's where you were going. Okay.
Yeah. So huge.
I set that up.
So huge.
It's huge, but they don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Come on. All right.
That's what she. Oh, you stole it.
He beat you again. Keep going, Ty.
That's what she said.
Yeah, so there's a selection of NES games.
Yeah. What are the
it seems
10?
like-
What are the 10 they announced?
Okay, they announced soccer, balloon fight, tennis, ice climber, Donkey Kong, Dr. Mario, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, and The Legend of Zelda.
Conveniently skipping 2
Yeah.
because in America nobody really liked that game.
Is Legend of Zelda the original really fun to play today? Like, it's just too basic, and
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan, honestly.
I
Yeah,
like
neither am I.
any of the other, even the Game Boy Zelda is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Link's Awakening.
Now, my once it went to Link to the Past, then it was great.
Right.
Every single one, I think.
I agree. So balloon fight could be an active 2-player
yeah.
online.
That would be fun.
That's actually pretty fun. Me and Jaron played that on the Wii U once.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
One
Okay.
time.
One time, yeah.
And then what was it? Super Mario Brothers. That could be active 2-player online as well, because you have that's the one with the POW in the middle of the screen, right?
Mario Brothers.
Just Mario Brothers. Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely opportunity for it. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. If they basically if they do it any other way, they're stupid.
Yeah.
They have to do it this way.
Just
I mean,
seems like what you're really paying for, though, is cloud saves.
cloud saves and multiplayer, because you won't
And
be able
multiplayer.
you won't be able to play multiplayer without this. Just like
Yeah.
live and plus.
There's not really a ton of games I want to play multiplayer, though, on Switch.
Yeah, Mario Kart is about
Mario
it.
Kart, I guess when Smash comes out,
Well, yeah, that's not out yet though.
yeah, it'll be like September, I think.
Rumor is that Nintendo and Namco Bandai have been teamed up with creating that new Smash Brothers. I read that last week. That
I can't wait for it.
Namco Bandai is in on that, so that'll be interesting. I wonder if that means we might get a few Namco Bandai characters to play as, like Ryu or someone like that. That'd be kind of fun.
You mean Ryu?
Ryu?
Ryu.
Ryu? Oh no, wait, that's Capcom. Namco Bandai would be like
Yeah, you're right. Namco is like Soul Calibur.
yeah, Soul
Tekken.
Calibur. That's what I'm thinking of.
Do they also do Dark Souls?
No, that's From Software. Well, it might be published by Namco Bandai, actually.
I think they're published by them.
But it's developed by From Software. All right.
Well, staying with Nintendo, we can talk about how they are not going to.
Oh
have
yeah, let's talk about the virtual console.
virtual console.
So I'm hoping that just means they're going to have a different service, but that still sucks because that guarantees you won't be able to bring over any of your previous purchases.
Yeah, that's,
I don't think they're having it at all. But so other publishers though, they're publishing their retro games on the Switch for a much higher price, I think, than what would have been sold in a virtual console. Like Sega, they're pushing out some of their games, and I know what was the other publisher? SNK. I think they were putting out a bunch of their
SNK, really?
Yeah. I think they're putting out a bunch of their
Interesting.
old library out on the Switch. So Nintendo isn't publishing it, but other publishers are stepping up and putting out some stuff. But I think that dashes our hopes for any N64 games. And
well, not
GameCube
necessarily.
games.
Just they could still release them, just not under the virtual console banner.
Just be something you buy for $10 or whatever.
I'd be surprised if they do, though.
Problem, though, think about this for a second. How many N64 games do you actually really want to go back and play again?
Super Smash Brothers.
There's one.
Uh,
And I say that with the utmost respect because I loved my N64. I had so much fun with it. But half or more of the games I remember playing,
GoldenEye.
dude, the frame rate on that was garbage.
Yeah. Have you ever gone back on an emulator and tried to play that? It is trash.
That's what I mean. Like at the time, the games were amazing, but the only games, honestly, off the top of my head, I'm sure I'm missing some that really hold up are first party games from Nintendo, like Super Mario 64.
Yeah, I'd play that. And Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 64.
Yeah, even that one I think is kind of too basic now.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's true. They've added a ton to the Mario Kart series since then.
But Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64, I think, still hold up.
Majora's Mask, if you liked that game. I didn't like that game very much.
Yeah, I have it on 3DS. I played it for like 2 hours and then stopped.
It was because if I didn't get something done, I lost all my progress on it whenever the sun or the moon crashed into the world. It's exactly what it was when I was little. I hated that. But yeah, so many of the N64 games just don't really hold up, unfortunately. They were amazing at the time, but not anymore. Unfortunately. Might as well keep with the gaming theme. Steam Link coming to iOS and Android.
This is exciting.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, so before they sold like a $50 device, it just enabled you to play your Steam games at a different location, like when you hook it up to your TV. But they're finally putting out mobile apps so you can do it on your iPhone, Android TV, or Apple TV. And I think those are the big ones, the Android TV and the Apple TV apps. It turns your Apple TV into a gaming console, kind of, assuming you have a gaming PC already.
Yeah.
So now you just don't have to buy the Steam Link hardware or whatever that was.
What are they going to do for controllers though? Because what controller works with an Apple TV?
Any M5 controller, like a Bluetooth controller.
Oh, really?
And I have one of those already. It's really solidly put together. It's made by SteelSeries.
So could I use an Xbox One controller that has Bluetooth?
I think you can connect Bluetooth controllers to the Apple TV. I might be wrong.
I know with Android TV you can. I used to have that. What was that one that Nvidia put out with the Tegra X1 in it? Shield. I had the Nvidia Shield for quite a while, and it used any Bluetooth controller. You could just pair it up. It was pretty neat, but I never got that to work very well because supposedly it's the same idea with the Nvidia Shield TV. Is you could have your gaming system with Nvidia graphics cards streamed to your TV over this, and I never got it working super well. It's probably my network, honestly, because I've seen other people get it working really well. So, but
the only bummer with that is they won't support 4K or HDR.
Yeah, I was going to say that the issues being no 4K, no HDR for the Steam stuff at this point. It might change, and then it's not like you're automatically going to be able to use touch controls on your phone. So
that would be rough.
That would be terrible anyway.
Yeah.
So, but you would be able to pair it with one of those like controllers with the mount on it, for the phone. I'm sure I have no doubt that would work.
So the Apple TV requires a M5 controller.
Boo! How many of those are out there?
There's quite a few. I have one.
Are they good though?
The one I have is good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
I have an Apple TV. Maybe I'll look into it. I don't know. I tried it already with, like I said, with the Shield TV. I wasn't very impressed. Too many dropped frames.
Gotta have those frames.
Gotta have the frames.
Just get a console.
Yeah.
Buy an Xbox.
I did. That is what I did. Yeah. Especially with the X. I find myself in an odd situation now where when a game comes out, do I get it for the X or my PC? Because I know it will probably look better on my PC in every aspect except for HDR. But HDR is huge. Like, it makes a big difference in a lot of games.
We had this conversation on Slack last week.
Yeah. Are you talking just Microsoft games because they are on both now? Or just any
And third party.
Any third party?
Any game, basically, that I could get on PC or a console.
Right.
Because, you do I want maxed out textures and everything, or do I want HDR? I mean,
It's weird that
it's hard.
companies haven't really supported HDR on the PC yet.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a hardware issue because there's very few monitors out there that take advantage of HDR very well.
Is it a monitor issue or is it a video card issue?
No. The 10 series from Nvidia supports HDR.
Okay, so it's a
not-
monitor.
Yeah, there's just not the monitors to support it. There's a few come out. LG just announced one, a 42-inch with its HDR 1000, so
Ooh.
the highest that the VESA qualifications allow for, and it looks really nice. But you only get half of the goodies on it. You get 1000 nits brightness in HDR at 4K, but you don't get G-Sync. You don't get higher than 60 frames per second,
yeah.
stuff like that. So
Well, you have two 1080 Ti's. You'll be at 60 frames per second anyway. You don't really need G-Sync.
that's not the point, Jaron. That's not the point. But yeah, so what were we going with that?
Gaming.
Oh yeah. We were talking about the
Steam Link.
Did we finish that up though?
Yeah,
Was
we
there
did.
Was there anything else we want to talk about?
No, that's it.
All right.
I think that was pretty boring.
Okay then. You're never coming back, Ty.
I'm
Let's.
not a PC gamer anymore, so that's...
You used to be a big PC gamer. What happened?
Well, yeah, back in the days like N64, you can play N64 or you can play PC games, which are way better. Like, would you rather play GoldenEye or Jedi Knight?
Jedi
Goldeneye.
Knight. Owen, get out of here.
Okay.
I think
Right
I
out
would've-
that window.
I would have rather played GoldenEye too.
I've
Back in
cut
that
my
day.
teeth.
never
I cut my
played Jedi
gaming
Knight.
my gaming career started with GoldenEye, kind of like
Yeah.
as a first person shooter. So I always will have a soft spot in my heart.
Does
Yeah.
that correlate to your motion sickness career?
Yeah.
I could
yeah, that's
definitely
where
see
that one made you sick at
When-
first.
When
so
you're trying to play a first-person shooter at 12 frames per second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
yep, it was rough. It was rough, but I was like the first game where my brothers and I would like really get together and like go all out. Like
Yeah.
so.
I'm in the same boat as Owen. I started off on consoles. So I did the opposite of Ty. I started off on consoles and then realized in about 2008 the glory that is PC gaming and how much better games look on that. And some of the exclusives too. Like at the time, Crysis was only available on PC, things like that.
Yeah.
But
I was still a PC gamer back then when Crysis came out.
Yeah. That game. There was a really interesting video done by Digital Foundry again that talked about the Crysis engine today versus the Crysis like Crytek 3 and things like that. The old Crysis game. That's a really good watch. I recommend that if you're into the nitty gritty nuts and bolts out in the weeds of how PC gaming engines work. All right. So Owen, tell us about the death of net neutrality.
It's coming up. It's coming up. I think today, the 12th. Is that what the article says? I can't remember what when it says it, but
No, I think it's in June.
Oh, okay, maybe it's next month. Yeah. So there's Gadget Pie, the new
Punchable man.
The most punchable face in America.
Mhm. Not helped by the fact that he went and did a whole bunch of like social media stuff to like show how the internet's not going to change.
You'll still get cat memes.
Yeah, and I'm still okay. That wasn't very nice.
Whoa, we don't say that word anymore.
I'm sorry. That word is not.
need to-
That word's not acceptable.
Politically
Cut
incorrect.
Cut that out, Tony. But I was using it in the technical term because I think he actually might have some kind of mental issue, not being able to understand.
Still can't use
no,
that.
Still can't do it?
Still no good.
Okay.
You're insulting everyone out there with mental issues.
Oh, right.
No, that's not true either, because there's a lot of different mental issues out there versus.
That's true. I apologize if I've offended anybody. But he's got everybody. I mean, he can make this change, and he has made this change. A lot of companies that at the beginning of net neutrality, their at the beginning of the end of net neutrality, I just like, look, everybody, all these companies are saying they're not going to do it. It's fine. You don't need to worry about this free and open internet because all these companies are putting out these things on their websites and wherever that they're not going to change their pricing and they're not going to throttle people and they're not going to do this.
Yeah, for the first year maybe.
They just did that and then they've quietly removed that language from their websites. Comcast has already taken down their they've changed the language on theirs and so yeah, it looks like it's going to happen. You're already seeing signs of it. Netflix is already preparing for it. If you follow them and but there are a bunch of senators that have put together. They're going to enforce it. They're going to try and force this back.
It's not going to work.
They only need one vote to force the issue. It's not one vote
they
to
can
win.
They have enough votes to call for a vote, or they have enough signatures to call for a vote.
Yeah.
They need one more person to pass that, but that's just in the Senate.
Then it goes to the House,
Then
which
it goes to
they
the
don't
House.
have very much support in the House.
They don't.
And then it goes to Trump, who will certainly veto it.
Yeah, on his desk. So
it's pretty much dead.
it's dead till we can figure out how to pull our politics together here. But yeah, it's annoying for sure. I mean, you'll see throttling and you'll see all sorts of change that benefits the corporations more than it does the consumer. So that's where it's going to go to.
And
Thanks for that horribly depressing news, Owen.
Anytime.
welcome to Trump's America.
Shoot the messenger.
So yeah. This doesn't surprise me at all that this is under Owen's name here. Facebook is considering making its own cryptocurrency.
Woo! Facebook, go! Welcome to the cryptocurrency nightmare.
They'll steal all your information if you mine their cryptocurrency.
They already do that.
If it's more than 5 cents a coin, I'll do it.
Is this the crypto minute starting right now?
Yes, begin the clock.
Okay, so that's all there is here. So Crypto Minute is Facebook is considering making their own
Clock's
cryptocurrency. They have created a small team, that's all that we know so far, to investigate the blockchain.
What is this blockchain?
And
we are investigating this.
Let's just look it up.
Formally.
I just imagine someone like staring at a computer, just like poking at it.
Yeah.
Blockchain.
It's not moving.
What if I share this photo on my Facebook feed?
Is that a blockchain?
Did I do it? Did I do it right?
That person's name is Mark Zuckerberg.
And so they're considering making their own cryptocurrency. They don't say what they're going to use it for. They alluded to maybe purchases on the site or.
You know why they did
Reward
this,
system.
right? Their stock has taken such a hit lately,
yeah.
and they just mention cryptocurrency
And
so they can get their stock price.
Exactly, which other companies have done.
I don't think we're in that kind of market right now anymore, though, because
Okay,
cryptocurrency.
well, Facebook is slow. You
Yeah,
know,
no
they're
kidding.
slow to the fight.
It might be good. It might be good though. Like it might boost us up on other markets. So hey, I'm all for that. And then the other crypto news is the
Okay, minutes up.
Can I have 15 seconds?
Nope, keep going.
Okay, good.
Vetoed.
The Bitmain has officially released their specs for the Ethereum,
the
Ethereum ASIC. So
yeah.
it's kind of putting the
I thought
Ethereum.
you said a few weeks ago that those were off the table now.
No, they put it out there, but what's really being decided now is whether or not Vitalik, what's his name is Buterin is going
Vitalik
to
Buterin.
fork the chain and make it ASIC resistant.
Yeah.
Which would then
At that point, there's no point in having the ASIC.
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as ASIC proof because there's a lot of smart people out there, but ASIC resistant is the best they can do, and they might do that. So anyway, yeah, that's the crypto. Other than that,
Yeah, are ASICs made by the same company who makes the shoes?
Different.
Nice shoes.
yeah,
I would have thought it would have been the same.
See, the thing
that's
is
a branding flaw. You think?
ASIC is
They
a
really-
brand of shoes, but it's a type of computer.
It's an acronym as well.
That's like saying, does Jell-O make all the gelatin?
Yes.
No, they don't. Unfortunately.
What?
Sounds like a
Yeah.
missed opportunity, though, right?
No, I thought Bill Cosby made all the Jello.
He makes other things. Or takes other things.
Yeah.
Anyway.
that's it. Takes.
So that's our crypto minute for the day. Or for the weeks, I should say. Well done, Owen. Well done.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay. Did Jaron, did you put this Sky Taxi? Oh no, that's not Jaron.
Nope.
Because I saw the second sentence was gotta lose some weight,
Yeah,
I guess.
I put that up there. So we talked about sky taxis a while ago, remember? And
yes.
the first thing, Sky, personal quadcopters, like personal drones. And we looked up the weight requirements, and they were like, what, 140?
Yeah, like 100,
Tops.
180 pounds, I
Yeah.
think.
Woo!
Shut up, Jaron.
And so
I just make it.
Tony and I
Shut up,
both.
Ty.
Small people are the future.
So Tony and I were both like, well, my dreams are gone.
If I was ever to get down to 180 pounds, you know what I would look like?
That picture that I've seen of you on Facebook, that's really kind of crazy.
It's creepy.
I
how
was
small
down,
you were.
I was down to 180 in that was in high school. When the picture you're
I think it
thinking
was the
of,
mustache that really threw me off that I saw on you. The one. It was
what picture is this?
your wife posted a picture of you and her, and that like a side by side of you and her. Then
That
and
wasn't Tony. That was another guy she was out with.
No, that was me.
Oh,
but,
good.
But that was 70 pounds ago.
Yeah, it looks a lot. And
No, that wasn't you
And
then.
about 6 inches less of beard.
Yeah, at least 6 inches. Yeah, that was when we first started dating. I was about 235. Now I'm 300.
So you still couldn't fit in the plane.
No, I still.
I don't even
that's
know
what
what
I'm
you,
saying.
I still, based on that picture, I'm not sure I would want to see you at 180. You would look
That's
like an Ethiopian.
Exactly what I was saying. Like I would look.
Don't
like,
say that, Owen.
I would look like Christian Bale in the Machinist.
Yeah.
Or the Machinist.
Starvin' Marvin.
Machinist?
The Machinist.
He's a Mackin.
He's the-
Mackin everywhere.
He's a Machinist. Yeah. So.
Well, this it's Uber's Sky Taxi thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really have weight requirements listed. It's supposed to be up to 4 people. To ride in
Yes.
it.
I don't know how they. I
I
don't know.
could be two of those people.
yeah, you would be two of those people.
Exactly. Gotta fly. Well, you're gonna have to pull the whole. There.
Let's see. We can
charge.
take all 4 of you or Tony and Owen. Well, Tony and Owen win.
Tony,
obviously.
yeah, exactly.
They're saying that they plan to launch by 2023.
5 years. They're saying they're gonna
I-
have skyports on top of buildings.
I optimistic.
I don't believe it.
I don't either.
Well, I mean, there's somewhat of a precedence for this, if I remember my history correctly. Back when blimps were a thing, they had started built skyscrapers with skyports, kind of a thing.
That'd be so cool.
If I
That's the future I want to be in.
If I remember correctly, and I could be totally blowing smoke right now, but I think that the Empire State Building's viewing deck was actually originally built for use
What?
with blimps.
That would be so cool.
And so they turned it into a viewing deck, obviously.
Lame.
After the
When
Hindenburg.
blimps kind
Okay.
of blew up, when the whole blimp thing blew up. So
Literally.
Good pun.
right? Thanks. So yeah, it's not like it can't be done. I mean, and then you've also got helipads, obviously, that already cater to the exceedingly wealthy and wasteful. So,
Yeah, this looks a lot bigger than a normal helicopter, though.
oh really?
And they say they plan to support 4,000 passengers per hour per skyport.
Wow, that's really optimistic.
And they do electronic vertical takeoff and landing.
Eve?
So Uber's going for sky control, and Elon Musk
Yeah.
is going for ground control. So he's got one tunnel built, and he's going to start allowing some rides, some test rides.
Yeah, in his LA tunnel, right?
In his LA tunnel, yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds.
What would you rather-
They have a picture of his tunnel, and I imagined like this nice, like well lit, like maybe 10 to 12 foot tunnel, maybe even bigger, like that cars go through, right? Because he's saying that like.
Well, is
you get
this
on
the
these
car
sleds-
one or is this the
This
sled
is the
one?
this is the sled one. This
Okay.
one looks more like they cleaned out a sewer tunnel.
It's not very long either.
No.
That video lasts like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
He flew a
It-
drone. He
it
flew a
is-
drone down
It
one
is
of the.
sped up,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still, it doesn't look that long.
And he said that they'll always prioritize cyclists and pedestrians over vehicles, but
that's kind of cool.
it looks a little creepy. They've got some transmission lines down there, like for data and stuff. It just looks like they've basically repurposed some old railway tunnel.
Huh.
It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it looked less appealing after I saw the pictures.
I need to look at these pictures because I'm almost done listening to Metro 2033, and that's what the games are based off of, and that whole thing is about the Moscow subway system being a nuclear fallout shelter after Russia gets nuked, and that sounds creepy, like the book. That's what that sounds like.
Are those games worth playing?
Heck yes.
Okay.
Is the book worth reading?
Okay. All right.
It's a Russian author, and so he gets really, really like heady and off on tangents.
How's the accent in the book?
It's actually pretty good. The guy that got reading it on Audible is he does a good Russian accent. Take that, Jaron.
It was supposed to be a joke, but you turned it into not a joke.
So I don't know if you want to read something that's really thinky and talky, or listen to it. Metro 2033 is interesting in that way, but as far as like, I came from reading things like Jim Butcher stuff.
So it's a step back into reality a little bit more.
Brandon Sanderson, things like that,
Which is sad that it's actually more of a reality that is because of our tensions with Russia right now and like everything. It's actually more relevant than before.
So anyway, but yeah, that's a hard read. But would you guys rather fly in the taxis or have a Hyperloop system that you could go on?
Oh, they're both kind of terrifying.
I'd rather fly.
You'd rather fly?
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
I agree. I'd rather fly.
I don't know about that. I just
if you could,
because if you fly, there's at least parachutes. If the Hyperloop blows up, you're gone. You're
screwed.
Yep.
If the Hyperloop is going faster than the speed of sound, I want that. But if it's not, then I'd take the plane.
It'd be cool to travel faster than the speed of sound in my life, like once.
Exactly.
I don't know that I'll put that on my bucket list, but but it would be fun to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking at some of the concepts though of the eVTOL aircraft, they could fit on a helipad. They're pretty small. So.
Yeah, I didn't think they looked that big from the,
there was
the
one
pictures I saw.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different concepts. There was one that looked pretty big, but it would still fit.
Yeah.
Do we trust Uber with this? I don't know if we do.
No, that's the thing. We don't even really trust them with our information, even though we give it to them anyway. But
didn't
this
Uber
is
just
much,
didn't Uber
much
just
more
get in a
dangerous.
crash? Didn't Uber somebody just crash an Uber car and kill somebody?
That was in Phoenix,
Arizona? Yeah.
Arizona.
But that was one of the AI piloted ones, wasn't it? Yeah.
I assume that's what these drones are going to be.
Yeah, they got to be. They're
There's
not going to have a pilot.
There's
for
no
each-
way.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
What are you going to do? Like, going to buy your own drone and buy into the taxi service?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's where I'm going to make my mark. I'm going to buy one of these drones and become an Uber
driver.
Uber
flyer.
Yeah.
I should say. Okay, let's talk about Android P. Well,
who's getting that?
Should we cover all of Google I/O and just get to
yeah. We'll cover all of Google I/O. I watched about an hour and a half of the keynote.
Here's what it was in one word: AI. That's all they talked about.
Yeah,
machine learning,
pretty much. What was that? What was the keynote? There was one a little while ago. Oh, it was the Nvidia keynote that was all about AI and machine learning too. A couple months ago.
But the way they use the term AI is starting to get kind of frustrating, I think.
Well, they apply it to everything.
Yeah. So there's this new screen dimming functionality in Android P.
Yeah.
And they said that they used AI to dim your screen. It's like, seriously? That's not AI.
It's just an algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's being handled artificially.
Supposedly, it's learning about when you dim your screen and dimming it for you based on your habits.
Man, what if you live an erratic life? What if you live an
not
erratic
AI.
life?
It's intelligent. It's artificial.
But what if you live an erratic lifestyle? Like some nights I'm up till 3 because I have kids,
Yeah.
and other nights I go to bed at like 10.
There's no accounting for the Owen.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well,
Or really any human.
Right.
It just bugs me how they're using that term because it's not what people think of when they think of AI.
No.
They're just kind of spreading that term everywhere now, and I think it's
It's
kind
a
of
buzz-
lost. It's lost its meaning.
It's becoming kind of a tech buzzword.
Yeah.
Is a Nest thermostat AI?
Sure. Why not?
My Nest
Because
thermostat
I turned that part off.
I need to do that because my Nest keeps setting my temperature wrong, and then it goes, and then it's linked to my phone, and so it checks when I leave. So if I leave,
Your
my family's like
roasts.
It turns everything down. And so it was really warm this last week, like a couple days earlier in the week, and
You can set that to multiple phones, by the way.
I know my wife just hasn't taken the time to do it, so she suffers. But
I think you can also set it to use the sensor on the thermostat instead of the phone location.
Instead of to know when you're home or not.
You don't have a leg to stand on, Owen.
No. I just haven't been deploying my Nest right. It's my fault.
Yeah. So, what else? I mean,
They talked about this crazy virtual assistant. It's called Google Duplex. What they demoed on the stage.
this was weird.
They said, well, first of all, it wasn't live, and so I really
It was a recording.
It was a recording. So I really doubt they're at this place right now. However,
That was probably the most successful recording
Yeah.
or attempt that they had.
Probably, yeah,
for
that makes
what,
sense.
So what Google Duplex is, they say, "Hey Google, book me a haircut between 10 and 12," and then this assistant will automatically dial up a haircut place.
AI assistant, Jen.
Yeah, whatever. And they'll book the appointment talking to a real person on the phone, and the person on the phone doesn't know that it's a computer, and they like put in words like and they
Try to emulate natural conversation tones.
yeah.
It did sound like a real person.
It did, and the voice that they have is nothing like their current Google Assistant voice, which is another reason why I think it's a few years out.
Was it John Legend?
Well, they're adding the new voices
Yeah, they are.
to the Google Assistant.
It still doesn't sound as good as what the voice was on Google Duplex. But after this demo, everyone freaked out. They're like, the person on the phone needs to know that they're talking to a computer. This is immoral, blah, blah, blah.
Right. That's funny.
And then Google, of course, since they're so oblivious to how humans feel, really, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to announce that it's a computer.
This is an AI.
We weren't really trying to fool you.
After everyone freaked out, of course. So I'm kind of, I don't know. We'll see how it really turns out.
Well, you know what the difference there is Apple would have said right at the beginning that it's they'll tell people it's AI or whatever because Apple handholds their customers to the extreme on stuff like that. Google's just like they throw it out there and just like hope you like it.
They do that too. I think they also do that with a more serious goal in mind of social experimentation. I think there's a big part of their company that likes to see how people react.
Oh
to
yeah,
things.
for sure. Because they want to know how far they can push.
Exactly, and so they'll throw something out there that freaks people out, and then they'll immediately be like, "Oh yeah, that was our bad. We're doing that. Of course, we're going to announce that it's a AI talking to you that will be like, hey, by the way, you're speaking to a robot. If you couldn't already tell from the horrible voice and unintelligible language,
I would like to book a haircut.
like it misunderstands you
at between 10 and 12 p.m.
It misunderstands, and you get 400 pizzas delivered to your door.
Right. I said, get me a pizza at 4, not get me 4 pizzas.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to have some sort of like Google AI fail video come up where they show.
I'm sure
they'll
be
those.
Those will come, no doubt.
It'll be all screen brightness fails. Dang it! I wanted this to be dim, not bright.
I said 80%.
Well, with the Duplex, they did the second demo that they showed or played didn't go quite as well as the first. So it showed that
they were willing to show that there was a slight
that's
that
good.
They've got
they were trying to get
grow.
a reservation, and it was like an Asian restaurant, and the woman.
But they were pre-recorded, right? These were all pre-recorded.
It was pre-recorded.
So they knew that this was gonna. It wasn't.
To kind of calm people down. Like we're not quite there yet.
Right.
It's not Skynet yet.
Right.
Don't worry.
Seriously though, it's kind of creepy.
What would you guys use Duplex for?
Nothing.
That's the thing. I would never use it for what they showed it for.
Maybe
I just do all my reservations
maybe
stuff
buying
online.
movie tickets.
Yeah.
No, I do that on my
No.
phone.
Who
you don't-
calls?
what do you need it
the
for?
theater to buy movie tickets?
Oh, yeah. Well, they need to make it so it can go out and do some web scrubbing.
Now
if
that would be
If they
different.
could go to
So-
Fandango and buy me tickets, and like, if I could say, "Hey Google, can you get me 4 tickets to the Avengers movie from Fandango?" and it could go out and do that.
You're talking about like Star Trek level AI.
Yeah.
Or there's a book, Snow Crash. I don't know if you guys have read that one. But there's an AI assistant that the main character has. He's his librarian. And basically what he does is when he goes into his VR world and asks his librarian a question, he says, give me everything you can find on such and such a person. I need to know about what he's doing with this aspect of his life. And he just goes out there and he scrubs the internet basically and comes back and says, okay, this is what I found on so-and-so. And it has it all listed in pertinent information based on how it relates to what he asked and things like that. And we're years away from that still.
Facebook's already doing that. I mean, on a personal level, Facebook's already doing that. They just don't share that data with anybody but themselves, or they're not supposed to.
They don't share it with anyone but themselves in Cambridge.
And then, people that want to sway elections. But yeah, I mean, they already have. Most people would be surprised what their digital fingerprint looks like online and what you could actually look up on somebody if you do the work.
Have you done the work, Owen?
Nope. I don't want to know. I don't. I'm just like, look, I have said yes. I've done the blind yes through the TOS on so many things that I just don't want to know.
I want to know if someone actually reads any of their terms of service.
Who's ever read terms of service? Period.
That's what I mean. I don't.
The most I've been able to train people in my family to do is look at the final box before you click next and make sure there's no check boxes in, like I want newsletters or please install Norton Antivirus or McAfee.
Yep.
That's the most I've been able to do is get them to uncheck those boxes before they click next.
Give me the Yahoo toolbar.
Yeah, that's what I want. The Yahoo toolbar. I'm pretty sure that's how Google survived from 2008 until they had their biggest data breach, and I don't even know what they're doing now. But anyway,
so more at Google I/O, they announced changes to Google Assistant. They announced the new voices. They said that you can do multiple commands at once now, which is nice.
I liked how they showed the difference between like how a computer would interpret a sentence versus how a human would interpret a sentence. Did you see that part of the demo?
I did not.
It's really interesting because they used an example of like basically it was something like tell me who drafted so and so basketball player while Richard Nixon was president of the U.S. and it was able to break up each section of that sentence into separate commands and return with the correct answer based on the criteria just from that one sentence. And then it showed like this is normally how a computer would see it, and it was just a jumble basically. And like this is how a human brain sees it, and we're training the computer to react like a human brain.
That sounds cool.
Perfect.
They do need to improve the Google Assistant. Mine is kind of frustrating at times. It's not consistent. Like sometimes when I say, "Hey Google, turn off Jaren's light," it's like, I don't know how to do that. And then other times when I say, "Hey Google, turn off Jaren's light," okay, and it does it.
Yeah.
Even though I say the exact same command. So hopefully they're improving the reliability on that.
But what if it sounded like John Legend?
That would help. That would help a lot.
Smooth over the cracks right there, no problem.
That would sell it. My wife would get one. So,
who would you want your Google Assistant to sound like? If you
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Not
Sean Connery.
Nolan North doing Nathan Drake.
Oh, what's he gonna do now?
Or Tom Cruise.
I'm gonna go with Chrissy Teigen. We'll just have John Legend and Chrissy Teigen do it together.
They also talked about Android P. I got to play around with it a little bit the other day. Yeah.
Who do you know that loaded it up?
Justin, the previous guest on this podcast
nice.
a few months ago. He had it on his phone. It's cool. They did a lot to the interface. They took a cue from the iPhone 10, and it's more gestural than it was before.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
The Palm Pre.
WebOS.
Android Pre.
Yes and no. They didn't go as far as the iPhone 10 or the Palm Pre, which is weird because they have Matthias Duarte, who pioneered, who did the OS design for WebOS, and he's been on Android for years now.
Well, come on, I'm sure that he didn't own the patents to his designs, so he can't just replicate the same exact thing onto Android.
Well, yeah, but you'd think they'd go to more gestures than they have been. And even now, they didn't go 100% into gestures. If you want to go back to your home screen, you still have to hit the home button. It's not a gesture there. And they still have the back button. That's not a gesture.
Yeah.
But you swipe up to get to your multitasking cards. They lifted that from WebOS and iPhone.
Yeah, that looks way different than what it currently looks like.
Yeah. Before, it was just like a vertical list that you scroll through. Now it's horizontal, which is better.
Do they still have a clear all option?
Does not look like it, but
because that would be a shame if they got rid of that.
Well, you're not supposed to quit your apps, and no matter what phone you have, you're not supposed to quit them.
That would be a shame if they got rid of that. That's all I will say.
I think they did by the looks of it, but it's an easy swipe up to kill the app.
Yeah.
Which is a step up from the iPhone 10. You have to long press the app, then you can swipe up. I don't know why
you have to
that.
long press on it.
Yeah, it's really dumb. They should just get rid of that on the iPhone. But what's cool about this though, the windows are active. It's not just a screenshot. You can copy and paste within the card to another window.
That's cool.
Quick swipe between apps isn't as intuitive as the iPhone 10, but it's there. It's not as good at this point, but it is beta. They might change things around.
Well, and iPhone's had that has been refining that for 3 years.
Yeah, I absolutely love that feature on the iPhone. I always switch between apps just really fast like that. Those are the main changes. One big change also is they have a new app that talks about your phone usage, how much time you've spent in each app each day, and you could curb your time spent in
what
certain
they call
apps.
that reminder or something. They have
dashboard.
YouTube's doing, or since they're putting in alerts, it's like go get fresh air or timeout or something like that.
I don't know what it's called.
So they're putting a timeout on there, so you can put app limits that will then stop it and it'll gray out. You can set yourself limits that will gray out for the day.
Get to it.
That grays out the app for the day to be like, go get some fresh air. I personally think that's fantastic because I have kids that are completely addicted to electronics, and I would love to be able to set on in software apps, like instead of having to like shut off their Wi-Fi or like trying to get these programs. I have to go get third-party programs from the App Store that let me as the parent control that on their device. And so I'd love to see a little bit more parental control. It's good to see them recognizing, even though they're kind of the drug dealers, they're recognizing that their drug is a little bit poisonous.
Yeah.
You know, that screen time and stuff is affecting kids and adults. I mean, with addictive, the addictive like consequences. And so I think it's actually a cool feature.
Yeah, I think this is really cool too.
Nintendo's been doing that for years. They started on the Wii. If you play for like over an hour, a thing pops up that says, "Hey, you've been playing for an hour. Why don't you go get some fresh air?" Did you ever see that?
No, I never had the Wii.
You never played Wii for more than an hour?
No, too much exercise.
Yeah,
dude.
me neither. Yeah.
Other than that, they said AI this, AI that, AI's an Android P, screen dimming, blah blah blah, and they in the app drawer now they select apps they think you'll use, which I think is a horrible idea.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
They say with 60% accuracy, we'll have these apps up there for you.
They're right barely half of the time.
You know what? If that was a baseball player, he'd be the greatest baseball player of all time.
So I think they should just have that real estate for real apps rather than what they think you'll use.
Yeah.
But whatever. But that's Android P.
What devices can that go on? Like I have the Pixel XL. Can I go get the beta of that now, or is there specific hardware?
Pixel, the essential phone. In fact, some Sony phones can get it. Vive, whatever.
If you don't have a Google phone, phone, you just go and enroll in their beta program.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Guess what manufacturer isn't participating?
Samsung. Pretty
Thanks.
much the only manufacturer everyone has.
Thanks, Samsung. I really like how you don't like to update your OS.
Yeah, Samsung will get this update probably 3 years from now.
They've got to find a way to make TouchWiz work with it. So
this is my last Samsung phone. I'm done with them.
You just barely got it.
I know. I love their hardware. Their hardware is great.
I warned you.
But man, I am so tired of their super slow OS updates. It's ridiculous. The Galaxy S7 was their flagship phone, and it is just barely starting to get Android 8.
Jeez,
Android
really?
8.0.
Isn't that 2 versions ago? They're up to the S9 now?
Yep.
Holy cow.
And it's just barely starting to get Android 8 through the legitimate channels.
That's ridiculous.
OTA
It is crazy. Samsung, shame on you. Shame on you.
So Sony, Xiaomi, Nokia, Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus 6, and Essential, and Google Pixel, of course, can all enroll in the beta.
Yeah.
I might do that.
I would wait.
I wouldn't do. I did the beta thing for a while for iPhone. When
it's
I had,
horrible.
I think I had a 4S when I was doing it.
Yeah.
And it was
really
trash.
Wait a few iterations at least.
There's 2 things I never recommend going. Actually, no. I should just say there's one thing in general I never recommend going beta on if you're going to use it on a regular basis. It's OS.
Good point.
If you're doing a beta on an OS and it's like a daily driver of any kind, whether it's your laptop, whether it's your game console or your phone, you are in for that is a bag of hurt, in the words of Steve Jobs.
Bag of hurt.
That is a bag of hurt. Beta OSs.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to be a beta tester.
No, I did that for the iPhone, and I also did it for Xbox. I did the beta program on the Xbox for like 2 years.
Oh yeah,
it was garbage.
Really, you got the?
It was so janky.
Oh,
crashed
all the time. No, it didn't crash a lot. It crashed sometimes, not very often, but it was the jankiest OS experience ever. It was worse than the PlayStation OS. It was terrible. Yeah, it was bad.
Dang.
I don't think a game console OS needs to be that sophisticated.
No, but it needs
boot up the game. That's all I need.
Just launch my games.
And it needs to be able to move from application to application without taking 15 seconds in between each action.
I agree.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's see. We got let's talk a little bit about good old Nvidia and how they're finally cleaning up their act a little bit. The Nvidia GPP
I saw that. We got some. That was the comments I was thinking about. We got some Twitter love on that, right? The GPP. We threw that out there.
Yeah, because it was
Twitter love, as in 2 people liked it. Thanks, guys.
Hey man, that's about as lovey as we get around here. It was the what did that stand for? GeForce Partner Program, I believe.
Yep.
Basically, that was Nvidia pulling kind of a dick move and saying, if you want to sell our graphics cards and be one of our main partners, you can't have any other items fall under the same category name as our graphics cards. We want name recognition, basically, so people don't get confused and accidentally buy an AMD card or something.
Right.
And so it was a huge load of crap. And then they've basically backed off on that after there was a huge outcry. And this is after several companies already went and made a separate line for the AMD cards to separate it. So now they're like, well, what do we do with this?
Thanks for the wasted time and money.
Yeah. So anyway.
At least they're fixing it.
Yeah, at least they're fixing it. It's not very often that Nvidia does anything bad. So.
Nvidia was like, no one understood this, but we're canceling.
Yeah,
it.
I like their reply. They're like, look, this is before it's like they basically claim this is before its time. Like you guys, it will be cool later, but we get that you guys don't understand it now.
This is the same exact thing that
it's like the nerd in high school.
Yeah.
I'll be cool later.
It's the same thing that Microsoft did with Xbox One's game share stuff when it was first announced.
I wish they would have done that still.
There was some aspects of it that I thought were pretty cool, but then there was others that I was like, that's pretty anti-consumer. But this GPP thing was definitely anti-consumer, if you ask me.
Also, speaking of Nvidia, you can finally get maybe a GPU for close to MSRP.
Right.
The Bitcoin, because the markets have been a little bit more turbulent than normal in the Bitcoin universe.
That's such a nice way of saying it.
Yeah. They've
been tanking hard.
You can actually, there's actually some places where you can get some Nvidia graphics cards for close to MSRP. Now that's twofold. I'm in a lot of groups with cryptocurrency and with a lot of the miners, and it's more of a calm before the storm. That from what I've heard and the talks and the forums that I'm on, they're just waiting for the next. They're not willing to invest in this round of graphic cards because the next version is coming out in
probably July. That's
right?
the speculation.
So they're all kind of waiting because Nvidia has been really good about not supercharging the prices of their new hardware. They usually keep it in the same price range as the version before.
Right.
And so there will be, of course, a huge rush on trying to get those cards, the next edition, when they come out. And so it's, if you want to get a 1080 or a 1080 Ti, now's a good time to get one. It's going to last you for 3 years. Maybe you can wait out for the next version to come out when the prices come down, because I assume that the market's that Bitcoin miners are going to go after those next gen just as heavily as they did these ones.
As long as the market's profitable, you bet they will.
Yeah.
So there's been some leaked specs on those cards. I don't know how much we want to talk about it because
I put those specs in there.
Straight rumor.
It really is, and like some of the rumors are saying that the 1170s will perform at a current 1080 current 1080 Ti specs.
Wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Nvidia is usually pretty good about significant bumps in between each generation,
right?
Performance-wise, but
I wish Nvidia would make processors. That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
They made
besides the X1.
I was going to say they made an ARM processor for a while and it didn't do very well, but it was still awesome. The thing, if you look at the rumored specs on there, it seems like the way they're achieving this significant bump in speed and power is they're going from a 16 nanometer to a 12 nanometer and then making the die even bigger. So basically, not only will it have better performance per watt and maybe better performance per cycle, but you're going from a 360 millimeter die to a 400 millimeter die. So you're just getting more cores,
right?
More CUDA cores.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a big boost. The frequencies look pretty much the same between 1500 megahertz up to 1800 megahertz, and sometimes closer to 2000 for the overclocked situations. But anyway, like I said a minute ago, take it with a grain of salt. We don't know. Nothing official has been announced. This is all just leaked, rumored stuff.
I think the Nvidia purposely does that. I think that a lot of companies do that, where they let little tidbits out to people.
Yeah, probably
so that to drive public interest, and I think because let's be honest, Nvidia has been riding the cryptocurrency train like this whole last year.
Oh yeah,
They've had a great year because of that the boom in Ethereum and all whatever other stuff you want to do with mining, and so they've got to get a little bit of hype out there to get people,
Hi,
thinking
I'm Owen.
about it.
Cryptocurrency, graphics cards, blah, markets, turbulent.
Just shut it.
Quick PSA: change your Twitter password if you haven't done it already.
Thanks, Jaron, for letting us know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they apparently were storing all their passwords in plain text, and they just found that out.
There was a bug. There was a bug you could do.
Internally, they said it has not been leaked, but just in case.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Who put the Microsoft Build stuff on there?
Ty.
Let's hear about Microsoft Build.
Yeah,
Ty.
Microsoft Build happened last week when you're listening to this. It was completely overshadowed by Google I/O.
Oh,
It really was, 'cause I didn't even know it happened.
poor Microsoft.
I started seeing some articles on it like 3 days after. I was like, Build happened?
Yeah, it was pretty
actually
quiet.
yeah, it's a cool one though. Like some of the stuff they did with mobile, right?
Yeah, they announced a couple of highlights that I would like to point out. They have this new thing called Your Phone that will allow you to use
My phone.
My phone?
Your Phone in
my phone.
Windows. So Google or Android and iOS, you can use the app to send text messages, access your photos.
That's cool.
View mobile notifications right from your computer.
This is the one thing that's really kept me from going over to an Apple phone. Not the one thing, but one of the big things, because I use Hangouts. So I like to be able to access my texts on my phone or on my computer. And if this solves that issue, then I don't have much of a huge leg to stand on against iOS, honestly.
Well, it won't connect to iPhones like it does Android.
Oh, well.
Because iOS doesn't have all the APIs available.
Still sticking with Android.
They can do this to Android because Android's more open.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to do iMessage on Windows, but
Though Microsoft has said they do want to work with Apple to do that, and of course Apple has not responded.
Of
Typical.
yeah, this will be a bigger thing on Android for sure.
Well, fine. I'm sticking with Android,
Well,
but not another Samsung.
This was one of the best features, maybe the only good feature about the Windows Phone. Before this was a feature that was in the Windows Phone when it was still a thing, and I actually had a Windows OS for a little bit, and it was really cool to be able to have a sync between them where I could get in there and see text messages and stuff like that, like pull those records. That was really cool. Like to be able to pull that stuff.
I love it with Hangouts. I text from my computer all day at work. I don't get my phone out to text at all. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's nice. Another thing they announced is tabbed apps.
This is cool.
Yeah, I think this is really cool because we're all used to the browser, the tabs. We don't like to switch windows. Now you can have one tab be like Microsoft Word or Excel, and another tab be your browser.
So you can have one window to rule them all?
One window, yeah.
I would love this in Excel. I have like at least 15 Excel windows open at a time at work, and being able to tab those would be amazing.
When's this update supposed to roll out? Is this the fall update?
This is the Spring Creators update, right?
Spring Creators update, I think, already.
That's already out.
came
okay.
That's out already.
1803, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that is. You're right.
Yeah.
Do they have a timeline for this stuff?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's this fall.
Cool.
Oh,
Cool.
It's in beta. Like this stuff is in beta, so I'm hoping it's this fall.
So how deep is the integration going to be with Android OS then? So you'll be able to access basically everything on your phone, or just like the photos and text?
I doubt it'll be everything on your phone.
Yeah. That would be cool if it was.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be your photos and your text. And
The timeline will also be on
notifications
on iOS and Android.
I'm curious.
That's like a separate app, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a separate app, but you open up the app, it'll show you everything you've done on your Windows machine, and presumably you can click on the link in Android, and it'll kick you out to like Office for Android, and you could pick up where you've left off.
That's kind of neat if that actually works. Once again, only useful in the work environment, not really like your day-to-day PC use like gaming and stuff like that. But
yeah.
So the app on Android is called the Microsoft Launcher. So I'm not sure if that's completely overtaking the Android launcher, or if
that's a different one. I read about that. The Microsoft Launcher is basically a new launcher for your Android device. It's Microsoft themed, prioritizes Microsoft stuff.
If it's good, I mean that's their inroad to Android right
Oh
there.
yeah, for sure. basically a second attempt at an OS without actually being an OS for your
Yeah.
mobile device. So
We'll see. I'm not a big fan of that idea.
yeah,
Like-
I mean, I understand that, but because I actually use Nova Launcher. I don't even use Samsung's because
Yeah. Definitely.
it's
You
garbage.
don't use Samsung.
TouchWiz is just poop.
Woof. Yeah.
But yeah, so I use Nova Launcher, and I basically try to make it pretty Android stock style. So
Yeah. So the other thing with Build that's getting a lot of coverage is the Kinect.
oh yeah,
It's back.
what the crap? Like it just won't die.
Yeah. So instead of using the Kinect just for Xbox video games, they're allowing developers to be able to send information from their own cameras and depth sensors up to Kinect in the cloud. So Microsoft is going to be doing all the processing of that information and then send it back to the device. So this
So-
will allow you to use Kinect or other developers to use the Kinect interface or APIs for like AR stuff, AR goggles.
But only like it'd be a always connected style device. Like
I believe so.
it won't have any like
Since it's- yeah.
standalone processing.
Since it's
kind of
using
thing.
the cloud to
Yeah.
do all that.
So would you want to use it as like kind of like a smart device for your house, kind of a thing?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, something like an AI assistant
Yeah.
that has like a screen. It can see you and it can see stuff.
So as you come in, it would recognize who you are based on just what you look like, your face, facial
Oh, yeah.
recognition, and then set the temperature of the house and maybe all that kind of stuff.
Like, that's a wide load. That's Owen coming home. Turn it down. Turn
This-
down the heat.
This is what, like, I swear there's episodes of Black Mirror that start this way. But that's interesting.
Yeah, that's
right?
a use. You could have it on your TV. You could. This is great for robots, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which, you can now Boston Dynamics is going to be selling their robotic dog. You can maybe pick one of those creepy things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't shed, I think it's an upgrade.
You'll be able to kick it and,
And it
not
will-
feel bad.
Yeah.
And it'll
It'll-
stand back up.
It'll just take it
Yep.
and it can open doors.
Open doors so it can let people in.
On second thought, don't buy this thing. This is scary.
Just looks at you there and it just goes woof woof. Like we're still working on the voice integration, but right now it can do woof woof.
Let's real quick. Let's hit on these Gigabyte SSD drives because I love me some SSD drives.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap, right? That's a fairly low cost for these. If you have an old computer that you feel it might be better served or that you want to keep around, that's like whenever anybody asks me how they can speed up their computer, I'm always like, get an SSD drive,
Yep.
and you will
Those are
immediately.
cheap.
Those are super cheap.
You see prices that cheap once in a while, but that's because there'd be like a sale.
Yeah,
That's a MSRP for these.
MSRP
512, $120, $256, $69.
Yeah,
That's crazy because that puts it in the realm where as a consumer, I can start maybe getting some of these and set up my own RAID for close to a good price, like where I can have an SSD RAID instead of, because right now I just have to use slow disk storage because I need these big 2 terabyte drives for my storage.
yeah.
But it might be more doable if these prices kind of stick around. So I'm excited about that.
So if you were to do that, you'd be looking at how much space would you want to do, just out of curiosity?
So I currently have a 6 terabyte RAID.
6 terabyte usable.
Yeah.
So if you were to,
5.45 usable because I've dropped one.
what's your redundancy?
It's a RAID 5, so I've got one.
One drive redundancy.
Mhm.
So let's see. It would cost you to reproduce that with this.
A lot more.
A lot.
A lot more.
lot
a lot more, but that's still. But when I did the price comparison before with like Samsung drives or with other drives, it was in the thousands of dollars.
You know what?
so-
I picked up I think I'd mentioned it a couple episodes back, and you can still find them for around this price. Is Micron has a enterprise level. Well, I don't know if it's enterprise level, but it's an enterprise SSD that you can get a 2 terabyte for $300 or less.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's a way good price. So you could actually pull that together for around $1,200 and
Yeah.
have six terabytes usable.
Yeah,
Is that right? Is my math right? I think
that'd
it
be
is.
sweet.
But yeah,
I'm actually getting low on space on my Plex server, so I'm down to 1 terabyte. I'm down below 1 terabyte left.
Uh-oh.
So I have to start doing some house cleaning or increase the size.
Yeah. You can get a lot of hard drives these days for 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte for around $80.
Yeah, that's about. I've had to replace. So a lot of people I know just run their Plex servers or their media servers off of like a USB drive, and they fail, and they're like, "What do I do?" I actually had one drive fail. I swapped it, which was nice if you know anything about RAID 5, and then the next week.
Another one failed.
And it was. I mean, that's how in a RAID 5. For those of you who don't know, is that you have one redundant disk for parity, and so the storage will continue to work in a degraded state until you can swap that drive out. It rebuilds the parity. You're back in business, and you don't lose your data. But if you lose more in a RAID 5, if you lose more than one disk, then all your data is toast.
Yeah.
So I was pretty creeped out by that. I was like, I need to do a backup because I don't just have media on there. I have like family pictures, all that stuff is kind of stored up there. So
I have a Drobo 5N2, and it has 5 2 terabyte drives in it, but I have it set up to give me 2 drive redundancy.
Oh, right.
And so out of the 10 terabytes of drive on there, I only have like 5 terabytes usable.
Right.
But I can have 2 drives go down and still be able to rebuild the RAID. So it's worth it if you ask me, because sometimes I don't see the light change on there and know that the drive's dead until another one is dead. All right. Let's see. Was there anything else that we wanted to hit on?
New Star Wars TV show 7 years in the future from Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
It's a live action, right?
Yeah, live action. They're using the same tech as Jungle Book.
Is this
John Favreau's doing
I was going
it.
to say, is this the John Favreau project? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how involved do you think he's going to be, though? Because a lot of the times you get these big name directors that basically just help
Sell a product.
They mash out the general outline and direct the first episode and then move along.
That's what I imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You might direct the first episode, maybe the last episode of the season. Who knows?
That's basically what happened with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
He's like, here's the general idea. I'll do the first episode, and now my brother and this other person is going to take over.
His wife.
Oh, was it his brother's wife?
His brother. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, yeah. And the only time I haven't seen that really happen was the first season of Walking Dead with Frank Darabont. He actually, I think, had a hand in every episode of the first season. Or pretty close to, anyway.
Mitch Hurwitz is quite involved with Arrested Development.
Yeah, but that's the only thing he does.
Yeah. Hey, I'm fine with that if it leads to good Arrested Development.
Well, let's hope that it does.
Which is out May 29th or 7th. One of those.
One of those days.
Season 5.
And Season 4 has been recut to 22 episodes.
It's much better.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I haven't read that it's been much better. I've read that it doesn't solve the problems that was there.
It's still kind of confusing, it going from future to past.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, though, it's much better as far as humor goes.
Oh, nice.
Because the first Season 4 that they released, the first half of the season wasn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
But the last half was really good. And now, since it's all combined, there's really funny moments in each episode.
Smoothed out.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too about this Return of the Jedi or this TV show they're doing is that Disney's streaming service will launch in 2019 along with Favreau's 2019 along with Favreau's live action Star Wars. So they're going to use the Star Wars franchise to really push their streaming service.
Well,
do you think they're going to pull everything they have from Netflix and kind of jump off that and go to their own?
They've already said that.
They're going to do that for sure.
Ooh, I bet Netflix is sweating in their pants right now.
They don't need Disney.
I don't think they're too worried about it.
They've got a lot of original content, but for kids, like the Disney aspect of that is still pretty huge.
Yeah, I guess so. A lot of the streaming companies, or I should say, the other big one that's trying to come out is doing the same thing. The DC streaming service that Warner Brothers is putting out is basically doing a bunch of exclusive DC Comics related shows.
Not live action movies, right?
No, so there's some live action shows and some animated shows. They're not doing movies that they've announced anyway, but they're basically like, yeah, if you want to see this, you got to subscribe to our
find something
streaming.
people love. Take it away, put it behind a paywall.
Just like CBS did with Star Trek Discovery.
Exactly like they did.
And it's really frustrating because I already pay for 3 streaming services.
Right.
I don't want to add 2 more.
No, I just want one.
Bundle and save.
Yeah.
That's why I like Netflix.
If only I could bundle opposing services together. I pay for Hulu, Netflix, and YouTube TV. And I'm honestly really considering dumping Hulu. I don't know. Because
Hulu's the only one I do pay for now. Hulu and Amazon.
Well, almost everything besides the Hulu exclusives I get on YouTube TV now. So But there's always the occasional exclusive that I'm like, oh, I really want to watch that, but I don't want to pay $13 a month just to watch one thing.
Yeah.
First world problems, I guess.
So I did have one more interesting article on.
Yes.
You remember the gray key that can unlock the iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hardware device, and
Have you seen a picture of this thing?
Yeah,
it's just a box
with two
lightning connectors.
So in true Apple form, since those guys won't play nice and say how they're doing it, right? Because they've kind of kept it under wraps, or they've tried to, and Apple's requested it. They're like, "How do you do this?" And they're just like, "Screw you," because when the roles were reversed, Apple was like, "Screw you."
Yeah.
And so now Apple's thinking about putting a patch in for the iPhone X, and later that
they're not thinking about it. They have done it.
Have they already done it?
In the latest beta.
Yeah. So that disables the USB port if it's locked for more than a week, which typically it takes longer than a week to get the correct legal forms to be able to break in, a subpoena to get into somebody's phone and all that. So it's kind of like this crack back at these guys to say, what are you going to do now?
And law enforcement's like, dang it, we just spent all this money.
Oh, I just spent $40,000 on this
Exactly.
So that's interesting. I like watching the war between law enforcement and privacy because I think it's critical that people keep an eye on that because it kind of has the same thing with this Ancestry and this the Golden State Killer that they just caught using DNA evidence. Like it's very interesting to watch how there was a podcast I listened to called it's the Sci-Fi Science Friday podcast.
Sci-Fi?
Sci-Fi. They do
Science
Science Friday.
Thought you just messed up.
Nope, Sci-Fi podcast, and they talked in depth about DNA and how the police tracked the Golden State Killer, and that was in the news. But the podcast is actually really, it was chilling to see how they use the DNA data to create fake accounts and actually find the guy, which is cool that it worked to find a bad guy, but at the same time, it makes me nervous of what privacy is going to look like in the future for the average consumer. Like
1984 style.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish that we could live in a world where you could just objectively look at each case that comes in for, criminal activity or and be like, okay, if we can hack this phone or get into this phone, it will help us solve a murder. That's fine. Do that. Instead of just like, hey, we want to know what you were texting about on your drive when we saw you texting while you drove,
right?
Like stuff like that. But unfortunately, we don't live in a society like that. You're either one or the other.
And also the FTC can't void your warranty anymore if you break the sticker.
Oh, actually, yeah, this is kind of neat. This is news that came out that the console makers specifically were kind of targeted on this. The right to repair.
The right to repair.
So
if you have that, there's that sticker. It's on a lot of hard drives too.
Yeah.
Warranty void if sticker broken. If you turn this screw, your warranty's voided. And the FTC basically came out and said you can't do that anymore. And so a lot of language has been changed on these. At least Sony's, I think, has changed theirs already. And
Sony and Nintendo
have already changed.
But Microsoft hasn't.
Yeah. So
it's weird. It's just weird in this day and age to see something that's more consumer friendly come from the government.
Yeah, exactly.
And something that's like, this benefits the corporations. So yeah, that's cool. Don't be afraid to. However, they did reiterate, if you crack open your device
and put in something
and mess it up yourself, your warranty is void.
Right.
But you're not going to get voided just for
repairing
opening it up.
Right. If you put if you open it up and put in something that's not theirs, like third party or something, then you're on your own.
Yep. All right. Anything else?
I kind of wanted to talk about the JBL soundbar real quick. It's a really cool idea. So JBL has this new soundbar that has Android TV built in, Google Assistant built in, and it's basically an HDMI switcher / receiver. So you plug in like all your consoles and stuff into this JBL soundbar, and it has Android TV, and you can use Google Assistant to just tell. So you just talk to it and say, "Hey Google, turn on the TV. Hey Google, switch to PlayStation." So it's kind of like what Kinect did with Xbox.
Yeah.
That sounds very convenient, actually.
That was the only thing I really liked about the Kinect was the voice commands.
Yeah.
I couldn't have cared less about the video capabilities of it.
Yeah, it was great. You walk into the room, Xbox on, and then turns on the Xbox, turns on your TV.
Yeah.
You're all ready to go.
It's really neat.
So that's basically what this is. But it has your Google Assistant built in, so it's in your living room. And it's the sound bar as well, so everything's just kind of
Is it a subwoofer too?
packed. I don't think it comes with a subwoofer.
Oh.
Yeah, what they need is this, but like in a receiver
Yeah, a big full-size receiver
Right.
with full-size receiver capabilities.
Receiver tech is usually kind of a few years behind.
It's very slow to adopt new tech,
Yeah.
for sure.
Unless it's audio tech, then they're like, you know, in the forefront. But if it's anything that's convenient, no, they're like 5-10 years behind.
What's that called? Quality of life upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
cool. Though that's is there a estimated release date on that?
It's
or-
going to be out this year
nice.
at some
Nice.
point, but it's a really cool idea, and I hope that we get more products like this.
Does it support 4K HDR?
They haven't said, but it better.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Maybe I'll get that with the Quantum series Visios.
Oh man.
Man, I looked at those specs, Darren, again, and I was completely amazed. I didn't pay attention the first time because I was like, oh, TV stuff. But I really am looking in the market to get a new TV this year. And,
If you want a bright TV, do the Quantum.
yeah, holy cow, it's got tons of stuff built in too that is just really cool.
As long as 65 inches is big enough for you, it looks.
Yeah.
Why don't they make those in like 82 or 85?
See, I've
Come
got
on.
65 now, and that's like it's big enough.
Oh,
for
that's
me.
right. We were going to mention real quick the TV you bought for your basement that you just finished.
Yeah, we're putting it up on the wall today, in fact, right after this podcast. It's the Samsung Q6F 82-inch.
Holy
What does
cow.
that mean?
So it's their QLED series.
Mm-hmm.
And Samsung's QLED series, it's really good for colors. The 6 and 7 doesn't have full array local dimming, so it's not so good on the blacks, and that's what I got.
Oh.
But their 8 and 9 series does have full array local dimming, so those are some really good sets.
How many zones do you know?
A lot of manufacturers don't really give out that information.
Oh.
Vizio does, just because I don't know, Vizio's cool mostly. But it's a good set. I'm excited for it, mostly because it's going to be gigantic.
82 inches
Yeah.
is massive.
It doesn't support Dolby Vision.
It doesn't?
Does not. It does HDR10 Plus, which is HDR10's analog to Dolby Vision.
Nobody supports HDR10 plus.
No, not yet.
The more you tell me about this TV, the more I still think you should have gone with the Sony.
Yeah, except the Sony was a whole lot more money.
Because you should have gone with a 75, not an 85.
Nah. Gotta have the. So my goal was to have it as big as a projector screen, almost as big as I could, possibly could get.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Neat. All right. We good? Anything else, guys?
Good.
We're good.
All right. Ty, thanks for coming along.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. Good to see your laptop still working.
Still working. It's a
Lazarus,
miracle.
the Lazarus Lappy.
Here's some more water.
Oh. All right, Owen, take us out.
Hey, we hope you care.
Gadget Spot.